Hello folks, this is Johnny again, and in today's tutorial I would kind of like to show you how you could go about mixing your low end. Because the low end is very important, so that's why I'm making an extra tutorial just for that. And the low end is kind of the foundation of any mix. And if your foundation is muddy and not very solid, then your whole mix is just gonna fall apart. And I mean that quite literally. Low ends can sound very muddy very easily if you don't take care of it right. Now, when I talk about low end, I basically mean roughly the 150 hertz area and below. So that means we will be mostly talking about the rhythm guitars, the bass, and the kick, because those three instruments mostly occupy that area. Everything else will be filtered in a way that it doesn't really have that much of an influence down there, and that's a good thing. So everything else, lead guitars and cleans and vocals, are kind of already out of the way, and they don't really mud things up down there. And that's basically what we want. So that brings me to my key point for this tutorial already here at the beginning. It's all about good filtering and EQing. Basically what you need to do is set your filters right on each instrument in a way that it leaves the room below for another instrument. For example, cut the rhythm guitars at a certain frequency and leave the room below for the bass. Cut the bass at a certain frequency and leave the room below for the kick. So you kind of have to puzzle everything together that it fits. And if that is not done right, then you will end up with an undefined and possibly muddy low end, and we do not want that. Alrighty, so the song that I will be showing you this tutorial on is The Fight from my own latest album, Reflection. I put a download link to the album in the description, as well as the stems for this particular song. I provided them a couple of months ago, and you can have your fun with it however you want. So, all I did so far in this project is just do some basic volume balance and panning, and so we can just concentrate on the low end now. As you can see, there's nothing else going on. I also routed some stuff into my buses however I needed, and yeah, so basically we are just working with the raw stems right now, and we'll just be concentrating on the low end because that's kind of where you should start. It's, as I said, it's the foundation. So if you concentrate too much on your high end and that everything cuts through nicely, then you probably won't be noticing that your low end is totally messed up, and then we're gonna have some trouble. So if you get your low end right from the start, then everything else will kind of fall in place. So let's just listen to what it sounds like right now. Can you hear my sexy voice? Because I'm having a cold. Anything that moves inside doesn't make you feel despite anything we're signed up. Yeah, as you can hear, you can't really distinguish all that much of stuff in there right now. So why don't we just start off filtering? Just some really stupid, simple filtering. So let's start off with the vocals. And key to good filtering is finding the balance between leaving room for other stuff and getting rid of the mud, but not diminishing the sound of what you're filtering. So let's just start off with vocals. Actually, we should probably just start off with some rough settings first, and then from there we can kind of fine tweak stuff. Okay? Because if we, right now, when nothing is done and we just concentrate on one thing, we won't hear much of a difference. So we just need to give everything a filter and see where we stand after this. So right now I just filtered the vocals. Anything that moves inside doesn't make. So yeah, nothing big there. Actually, since we're talking about the low end and we just started off with this mix and there's nothing else going on, I kind of like to mute the vocals. Usually when I do a mix, I kind of start roughly instrumentally and then I come in with the vocals and mix everything together because, well, vocals, human voice is just too present in your ears, and when you want to concentrate on other stuff, then it can get a little bit in the way, at least for me at my set of skills right now at this point. So you feel free to do it however else. Then clean guitars, let's just check in with those, solo them. Yeah, just need to set up some basic stuff first. So, but as I said, vocals, cleans, leads, those will be filtered so much that they won't have that much of an effect on our low end. So yeah. Just see if we hear a difference already, but perhaps not that much. Oh yeah, it does already clear up a little bit, but of course, that's just the beginning of all this process. So, I kind of want to go next to the overheads. Hang on, I just gotta change a little setting here so it doesn't turn on my recording option all the time. Alrighty. Overheads, yeah. Those will be filtered anyways quite dramatically. So this should already clear up the low end a little bit more. And let's go to the room next. I kind of like to get all that stuff that's not particularly having much going on the low end later on in the mix. How did I just start off that sentence? Well, I just want to take care of that stuff first, you know, so that then when I really want to concentrate on the low end, I can just concentrate on the rhythm, bass, and kick. So let's see what we got for the room here. Also filter that. And yeah, cut out some of those lower mids. This should already help quite a bit too. So let's just check without those two filters. Yeah, it clears up a little bit more. But of course, we're just starting off right now, so there's still a whole lot more coming. Yeah, now that that's all done, yeah, basically we can already start off with your rhythm, bass, and kick. You know what? I'm just going to solo those three. Yeah, let's just take the whole drums, okay. Alrighty, so you know what? Let's just start off with some basic settings here. Now on my rhythm guitars, let's just start off with cutting those at 100 hertz, and let's just start off with the bass at, let's say 70 hertz. Okay, just some rough starting settings and see how that clears things up. So first, let's check without the filters, and then we'll just kick them in and see if something happened. Yeah, this already clears up the low end some more. If you're not sure what you're supposed to really listen to, just check that low thump on the kick. Without the filters, it's a little covered up. But with the filters, you notice that thump of the kick comes through a little bit better. All right, then let's just go on with the kick. Later on, I'll give it a filter, but right now, I kind of want to go on a little bit with some EQing. So I'm gonna give this kick a boost that it kind of has its place in the low end, that it kind of sticks out more below the bass guitar. Whoa, and this kick drum doesn't even need much. That's crazy. So let me just cut out some of those muddy, boxy mids. So you see, we're kind of just starting to get a rough mix done. Okay, then let's go on to the bass again and just shift around our filter and see where we can find our sweet spot. Yeah, around 75 seems to be good for this one. If I go a bit up, then I already notice I'm starting to lose some powerful low end on my bass. And if I go a bit lower, then it's starting to just stand in the way of the kick. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then let's do the same for the rhythm guitars. Yeah, I could go to 120 with this one, because a little bit lower, then the palm mutes start to mud up a little bit, and if I go higher, then I'm kind of losing those balls again. So, and I don't want to lose my balls, you know. Alrighty, so there you kind of already have it. So let's just check the filter on our kick, because especially this kick has a lot of sub frequencies floating around down there, and they can kind of mess things up later on, so we just want to clean that up as well. Yeah, something around that. And now, for the fun of it, let's do the same thing on the snare, so we get that also. Of course, the snare I want to filter a little bit, so I want to take care of that too low thumping that we don't want to have in there. And then boost the body a little bit, and then cut those mids a little bit, and just get us a basic starting point. Alrighty. Okay, now I kind of have a basic setup of my low end, so I want to reference it in mono from time to time, because when you reference your mix in mono, it's easier to to listen for your frequency separation between instruments. Because when you have it in stereo, then your whole stereo field kind of distracts you from that. When you go to mono, it's just simpler. So you should switch to mono from time to time just to check in and see how things sound there. For example, there I already hear the kick has quite a bit of low end thump going on, so perhaps I'm just gonna have to lower the volume a little bit. And you know what? Let's just start off boosting some stuff here. Oops, let's go like this. You know, it's just some basic setup again. Let's just do the same thing for the snare. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I approve. Okay, then when you're kind of halfway through the mix and you didn't give too much attention to the low end yet, what I sometimes like to do is I just take away um, the high end boost on my kick and then just check if I still hear that low end thump of the kick through the whole mix. Because, of course, that high end click helps the kick to cut through the mix. But if that is gone, and you just don't hear anything of the kick anymore because the whole low end is obscured, then yeah, you probably need to tweak some stuff a little bit more. But this sounds fine. I still feel that low end on the kick bursting through, so this is acceptable. And of course, now we can go on boosting some stuff on the other instruments. So, filtering is just one part. Filtering leaves space for other instruments, and now boosting gives space to your instrument. So, the bass and the kick are just such a beautiful example of this. So now I filtered the bass at 74 hertz, yeah, 74, 75, something around that corner, just to leave the room below for the kick. And now I'm gonna boost some frequency on the bass so it itself has its place down there. And of course, as I do that, I may need to lower the overall volume of the bass again because, well, that low end just gets louder, obviously. First, I need to check what kind of frequency would sound good. Yeah, that general area seems to work fine. For a nice rumble. And what I also sometimes like to do is I just mute the bass and see how much the kick suddenly comes through. And if it comes through a whole lot more than expected, then, well, I may need to tweak some stuff a little bit more. Yeah, something like this. Perhaps I can filter it a little bit higher, perhaps about 80 hertz. Yeah, then leaves a bit more room for the kick. Okay, now that I muted the bass, I also can show a little bit more on the rhythm guitars and how the low ends can just sound muddy. So yeah, something around those lines. As you can see, I like to mute the bass a couple of times just to see if I have too much of it or too little of it, and then I can find my volume balance. All right, and well, from there we can do some more stuff, like get some low mids, let's boost some stuff. Yeah, that bass tone is rad. Okay, toms. Toms, of course, also have a lot of low end. So, where do I have this tom fill? Yep. So here again, just filter to a point that it clears up stuff down there. So around those lines, and yeah, then perhaps tiny bit of boost. And then again, some major cutting just to get your rough mix started. See, as you can see, it doesn't really take much to get a decent basic mix. It's just some really basic EQing I'm doing here. Although I kind of just wanted to talk about the low end, but you can't just do the low end. You kind of do everything at the same time a little bit. So as I'm taking care of the low end, I kind of have to take care of those mids and those high ends just to see how things fall in place. And then over time, give it all its fine tweaking so you can reach your final destination. Yeah. And let's see, guitars. I could also give it a bit of space down there in the low end. Well, this will probably fall more into the low mids already. Let's see, the snare I boosted, yeah, in this 200 hertz area. So of course, when I do that, then I can't very well boost the rhythm at 200 hertz because then those two instruments would just stand in each other's way again. So I'm gonna have to find for something else. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm not sure when I want to boost two different things at the same frequency because both just sound good there, then what I like to do, I just go with the boost of one instrument a little bit lower and the boost of the other instrument a little bit higher. Of course, then in the end, you might not get exactly what you want out of each instrument, but at some point, you just kind of have to compromise. So, yeah, that means with the rhythm guitar, I went a little bit higher between 200 and 300, and on the snare, I went a little bit lower, so I still get a bit of a separation there. Alrighty. Alrighty. Then let's check this again without all that we've done so far. Yeah. And there we have a decently nice and defined and clear low end, sort of. Of course, you can do so much more. For example, on the kick, those low mids in this area, I like to cut to get it a bit more clean. And Yeah, there's just so much more you could do, but this again just your rough starting point. And now let's hear it with everything together again, also with the vocals. Without compressor, those vocals are kind of, yeah, all over the place. Yeah, now again, let me take away this high-end boost on the kick. And we still hear that low end thump down there, so that's a good thing. Yeah, and we're basically done building our low end, sort of. Yeah, basically, you know. Again, there's so much more you could do. Just to show you here what we're working with now. So we got kick, bass, and rhythm guitar. So here you can just compare how the filters and the boost of each instrument are going down with, well, the register of said instrument. So the rhythm guitars cut a bit higher and the boost is a bit higher to give that its place and leave the space below for the bass. What I'm just noticing, and I didn't even give it that much attention right now, I cut the guitars at around 120 hertz and I boosted the bass at around 120 hertz. And this sort of setup kind of helps to really make those two instruments lock with each other. And of course, that's also kind of what we want. Of course, we want the instruments to be sort of separated, that everything is nicely clear and audible, but we also want them to sound like a unit. Okay, we don't just want them to sound like an individual thing of their own, just thrown together. So yeah, and then the kick here also giving its space down there. So I hope this tutorial helps out. Um, if not, then just practice. Sorry. Because really, this takes practicing, okay? It takes a couple of years of experience to get it down in your skill set. So don't get frustrated if it doesn't come to you overnight, even now after watching this tutorial. And if this is too much for you right now to fiddle around with and to practice it, then feel free to hire me for a mixing and or mastering job and I will do it for you. If not, then I wish you all the best and all the fun in practicing. So, cheers!